de Jochen Kleboth con títulos en Seguridad Alimentaria y Biotecnología. Ha aplicado la ciencia de datos a problemas reales de la industria de la certificación desde hace más de 15 años. Ha sido un contribuyente destacado en el ámbito de la analítica de certificación de alimentos. Jochen ha recibido varios premios académicos por su investigación en la intersección de la gestión de auditorías de alimentos y el uso de la inteligencia artificial. A ver si puedo terminar, venga. En INTAT, Jochen pone en práctica su investigación liderando la unidad... No, no voy a poder. Aquí.
Liderando la unidad de negocio de Intact Analytics, desarrollando soluciones de software basadas en IA que ayudan a empresas alimentarias, propietarios de programas de certificación y organismos de certificación a aumentar la integridad de las auditorías y la inocuidad alimentaria. Reside en Viena, Austria. Su presentación será en inglés, traducida y subtitulada en directo por inteligencia artificial. Vamos a ver lo que pasa. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bruno. And a warm welcome also from my side. And sorry to actually have this one here in English, but believe me, you don't want to hear my Spanish. So, okay. So today we're going to have a very exciting topic. I'm very happy to talk about artificial intelligence and especially about large language models. And I'm pretty sure you all have already heard about ChatGPT. So this is an exciting new area for everyone working in data science, for everyone who is working with artificial intelligence. And yeah, once again, I'm very happy to be here today. For everyone who doesn't know Intact, we are a software solution provider for the audit and certification industry. We're more than 20 years on the market, pretty much the industry leader whenever it comes to a checklist and to conformity. From pretty much sustainability, food safety is actually, we started with food safety. That was our first area where we were in, then sustainability, and nowadays even aerospace. So whenever you are boarding a plane, you can be pretty sure that our software was involved. Audit certification standard on every continent. So that is pretty much what we do. Just to give you an overview, we have seven offices around the world, and you probably already see some of the food safety labels already there. For example, SQFI, IFS, AIB, the certification bodies, Kiva, and so on and so forth, SGS. So that is pretty much our topic to give you the context about the talk today. Okay. AI, pretty much the logical next step for productivity, as I would call it. When you think about like conformity or pretty much audits per se, you could see there was a technology. The first technology wave that we have seen was actually paper-based, and that was nothing bad actually. That was pretty amazing, and you know, everything started with paper. We wrote down everything that we need to do. And all the non-conformities, everything was pretty much paper-based. And that's how the whole, I would say, evolution started. And also what we heard today in some of the talks, at least from what I understood, is digitalization. And digitalization is, of course, a very, very important part, because going from paper to being digital, that's a completely new game, because you can share information very easily, and you can actually copy information very easily. Sharing and copying is actually pretty much the thing that I would say digitalization is most used for. And then if you have something digital, to analyze something and to go even a step further would be AI and data supported audits, meaning that from the digital data that you already have, reason what would be good, what actually would be good to do, what would be good to check, what would be good to have in an audit plan, what are the things that we should focus on, and what are the things that are probably not that important in an audit. And this is really where the long-term expected risk-based auditing would come in. Risk-based auditing is actually a topic that Intact and also myself were already researching for more than 8 years. So this is definitely something that we see now really surfacing to have really risk-based audits. What that means, we come to that a little bit later. Hyper innovation. I believe, you all heard about ChatGPT. You all heard about like that it's going to be the next internet. It's going to be like the transition from writing letters to emails. There are a lot of comparisons out there. And of course, a very valid question is it a hype or is it innovation? And it's not just us in the data science community that believe if even like 25 to 30% of what we have seen so far stays, there's going to be a huge shift in the whole industry. Because this is like so like taking basic things to a next level that we are quite impressed already what we have seen so far. What does that mean? User interfaces. I'm pretty sure that user interfaces will not look the same in the very near future than they look today. Also using or having a digital assistant in every step of the audit process, or pretty much in every step of writing a document, or even like in Office 365, from writing emails to Excel sheets to PowerPoint presentations, wherever you are, you're going to have actually an assistant called copilots these days. And once again, from what we have already seen, if just a fraction of that stays, it's going to be really taking things to a next level. So LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT is. So how do they look like? Well, you see here the probably most of you have already seen that. It's pretty much like a chat interface, right? Or what you would use in a WhatsApp or in a notification portal. It's pretty much like a chat interface. But the cool thing is that it's not a static thing. This thing actually can reason. It can reason to a certain extent. Of course, it was trained on the internet. So ChatGPT was trained on the internet. So you would actually get reason back that is very general. And that's also the name GPT. It's general pre-trained transformer models. So it's quite logical. And I also going to tell you in a second what should then be done, of course. But nevertheless, they can reason. They can be very context specific, meaning that when such a large language model knows that you're actually working in the food safety industry or you're working in food quality, then it can take that into account and be more specific on what actually the output would be. And it can analyze not just text, but data, audio, and video. And that is actually quite impressive. If you have followed, for example, the Microsoft Ignite conference, what we will see in Microsoft Teams, that's going to be very impressive. And I'm pretty sure that also that's going to bring actually remote audits on the table again. You have a conversation, you do all your talking, and after that you're going to get like who said what, a summary. Also a to-do list, who has to do what, just basically out of video and text. And that works to a very interestingly high extent. So this new large language models out there put actually artificial intelligence back on the table because it's a massive improvement of accuracy out there. Okay. So the problem, though, with these GPTs, or pretty much all the large language model out there, is that they are not domain specific. As I said before, they were trained on the internet, and of course, you find food safety information on the internet out there. But when you talk about really your specific context, your company, your product, your processes, then of course this will actually fall short. Nevertheless, already out there are this, I would call the second wave already, which are that you're able to fine-tune such a large language model, that you can teach it your context, that you can teach it your processes, your product, your specifics, and so on. Of course, everything should be in a highly secure space. And I would say what we see here doing the biggest providers are also taking a lot of care these days about the security level. ISO 27000 is pretty much standard everywhere out there these days. So this has been taken care of. Not talking about ethics. Ethics is a little bit a different topic and would actually be too much for today, but it's also very important. Yeah, as I said, it's going to be fine-tuned with your knowledge and your customer data. And the interesting part is, and that's also what we strive for to use it in the Intact software, is that it learns. It learns every day with all the inputs that you give, with all the the tasks that you perform. It learns. You know, it learns what is important for you. It learns what is not so important for you, and then actually can help you. And as we see it, these large language models are going to be one part of a solution, but not the whole solution. And we're going to see that in a use case a little bit later, for example, predictions is going to be a big part. Optimization is going to be a big part. But these are other artificial intelligence models than large language models. Nevertheless, there's going to be a whole suite of artificial intelligence models playing together to be a perfect assistant for you, or as good as it goes, right? Okay. So what did we do so far since we have this lack of specific content in these large language models which are out there? We try to actually overcome all of this. And what we have seen so far, and we do all of this in Microsoft Azure. So we work in the Microsoft pipeline here. It's actually quite significant, I would say. For us as a company, it is really a new dawn of how people will work in the future. Yeah, and I'm not talking about in 5 to 10 years. It's for us, it's more like in 1 to 3 years. So this is really changing the game a lot. So what we did is we put it all in a secure environment. We tested security and so on. So that works quite fine. So it is possible to work with these LLMs in a secure environment. We connected it to food safety and told it and teached it pretty much what food safety is, what the different standards are, IFS, BRCs, FSSCs, and so on. And then said, okay, that's awesome, but also we want you to be able to play different roles. For example, teach it different terms, because sometimes in a company, the one company says non-conformities, the other says findings, and so on and so on. So there are a lot of specifics out there, or risk. Yeah, risk is a very, very general term, and what risk means for person A is something may be completely different than for person B. So being able to make it really yours, your assistant, your GPT, we said, okay, we have to find a way to actually teach it also these terms, yeah, and these ideas that you have in your head when you talk, for example, about a food safety culture. And the last point, which was also successful, is that we made it proactive. That means that, for example, this ChatGPT or Intact GPT, as we call it, is actually proactively going through the data in the database of our customers and digs out findings, pretty much. Digs out things that are insightful to our customers. So going away from like being a passive system that sits there and waits to be prompted to actually an active assistant that helps you in your daily work. Okay, let's look at some use cases. And what we see as one of the first things that we're going to tackle is a task assistant. That's like when you as I said before, we are in the audit certification industry. That means, like, for example, I have to plan an audit. There are several sub-steps to that. Yeah. But sometimes it's hard to actually see the whole picture. And for example, that there are 14 unfinished audit orders or 36 certificates need to be renewed, but are not planned yet. Yeah? Things that you also, although you have a digital system, sometimes like are not so easy to see, let's put it like that. So being a task assistant, a proactive task assistant, is something that we see as very valuable. Audit planning, and of course, this is a very important part and goes hand in hand with an optimization. For example, like I have an auditor pool, for example, but not everyone is qualified to audit all standards. So you have to find an auditor that has time and is geographically located close or closer to an auditee and actually certified to do that. So this is what we see sometimes a really, really hard task, especially when you say then, okay, it's not just one audit, but it's combined audits, and you have to plan a route for all the auditors and so on and so on. This is a very manual task these days. Of course, we, with our system, help them, and you get specific information to have a better picture and get a better understanding of the situation, but to really make the best plan with large language models and prediction models, we are here, also geographical optimization models, we are here very close to an optimal solution. And also the proof of concept that we have for that worked quite well. Auditor prep assistant, for example, here we really go into also before we also already were into the risk-based auditing area, where you could say, for example, okay, I really have to focus on toxins because we had an incident in the supply chain, and that's what we're focused on. Also, auditor prep assistant, for example, where you could upload documents, for example. You get a summarization, they are analyzed automatically. Once again, proof of concept worked quite well, and identifies in these documents possible weak points, and already gives you a hint on what could be interesting to look at, and also interesting to have a closer look. Auditor findings assistant, one point by when actually entering the data. This is very critical part, and I heard it in another presentation today. It was rubbish in, rubbish out. Yeah, and especially at this point, when an auditor actually enters data, of course, that's cumbersome. Sometimes sometimes you think, okay, I have to write that again, and I have to write it in this way, and there I have to write it in this way, and so on and so on. Especially here, we do see a lot of improvement possibilities, and make it easier for auditors to actually write good audit reports and good non-conformities. Because when you write, as soon as you enter the text, it is checked about like completeness, does it have the right structure, already gives you, for example, hints about root causes, the most possible root causes for that. Or if you have that finding associated with it, always goes XYZ finding, for example. Yeah, it would be interesting to have a closer look at, for example, this area as well. So there are a lot of possibilities here. Also, of course, when you upload pictures or videos in that section, to analyze these videos and analyze this media, so to say, will be very, very interesting. So preparation of auditors, but also for the findings assistant per se, we see huge value. And then, as you see, that's pretty much like a certification process that I'm going through here, and we do see potential for every single step in it. Audit reviews. So you get all the audit data pretty much back, and you can analyze that, of course, automatically. Also, you can teach it what for you is a potential risk and what it is not. Yeah, and of course, the system gets better over time. And yeah, this is actually here we do see the biggest time-saving capabilities and also productivity enhancements for our customers so far, and also in the audit planning. Okay, so, and now we say, that's all interesting and well, but what can I do? There's nothing I can do, right? So I have to wait until products are out there, and then I have to buy one, and it's probably gonna be very, very expensive. And well, what we already do, for example, at Intech internally, we already are training our people on GPTs, and OpenAI just announced them recently. OpenAI, who for all of you who don't know them, is pretty much a company who invented ChatGPT, so to say. And what they did in the last couple of weeks is that they went in the direction I was talking about. They said, we have a general ChatGPT, but you know what? You can make your own specialized GPT. And this is actually quite interesting. What did I do as a food safety data scientist? I said, I want to have a food safety audit certification advisor, and I want to train that thing. Yeah. So, and the pretty cool thing is you don't have to write one single line of code. As you see here on the left-hand side, I pretty much just had a conversation with ChatGPT about building a GPT for me. Yeah. And this went really well. I really have to say I'm quite impressed. And what it actually does is you can tell it which role to play, for example, an advisor role, or be a critical voice, for example, to audits when you upload them, and so on. So there is a lot of things you can do. And one of the biggest things here, I would say, is this upload files button, because here you can really feed it with your knowledge, your processes, your input, your context. So pretty much whatever you have at hand and you think would be good that these intelligence, this large language model knows, you upload that, and then it can actually refer to it. I tried that with several standards, the food safety standards. It worked incredibly well. And of course, not of course, actually another cool thing is that you can also connect it to APIs, for example, databases, REST database, for example, if you want. You can connect it to different APIs out there and other applications, and also, that it can refer to it, get information from these databases, and get even more powerful. So, and this you can do, it's very easy to do. You don't have to code. You just have a conversation with ChatGPT, and it builds you this GPT. It's also SOC 2 certified, which is a standard for information security. So I would say to start the journey, this is a very interesting thing to do. And yeah, I hope you have not just fun with it, but it also creates value for you. For us, it already does, and we educate our people actually in that direction, because we do see also internally, not just for our product, but also internally for us, a huge productivity enhancement with all these large language models. So very much looking forward to questions, to conversations. Contact me if you have any input or questions, and I'm more than happy to answer it. Thank you very much.